Imagine finding out that your blood pressure medicine may not be the problem at all. Not the prescription, not the dosage, and not even your body, but the time you take it. For many adults over 60, blood pressure pills become part of everyday life. You wake up, take the tablet, maybe check your pressure, maybe make coffee, and move on with your day. It feels routine. It feels responsible, like you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. But here's the problem. A lot of people take their medication faithfully every single day and still make small mistakes that interfere with how well those pills actually work. Not because they're careless, not because they're doing something reckless, but because no one explained that blood pressure medication isn't only about what you take. It's also about when you take it, what you take it with, and how it fits into the rhythm of your day. And after 60, those details matter more than most people realize. You may be taking the right pill at the right dose and still doing something every morning, every afternoon, or every night that quietly works against it. That's what makes this so frustrating. The mistake often doesn't look like a mistake. It looks like a normal routine. Take something as simple as your morning coffee. You wake up, take your blood pressure pill, and a few minutes later pour a strong cup of coffee. That sounds harmless. For many people, it's automatic. But depending on the medication you're taking, that routine may be working against you. Some blood pressure medicines are designed to slow the heart down and reduce the force of each heartbeat. Caffeine tends to do the opposite. It can stimulate the nervous system, raise your heart rate, and temporarily increase blood pressure. So instead of your routine helping the medication settle in, your body may be getting mixed signals almost immediately. For some people, that shows up as a fluttering feeling in the chest. For others, it's a pounding heartbeat, a shaky feeling, or a strange sense that something feels off first thing in the morning. And many people never connect it to the timing of the pill and the coffee. This doesn't mean everyone has to give up coffee forever. The point is simpler than that. Taking your pill with water and giving it a little time before caffeine may be a smarter routine, especially if you've noticed morning palpitations, dizziness, or blood pressure readings that seem unpredictable. The next mistake is even more surprising because it involves something many people think of as healthy: grapefruit. The problem is not that grapefruit is bad in general. The issue is that grapefruit can interfere with the way the body processes certain medications, including some blood pressure drugs. In simple terms, it can change how much of the medication stays in your system. So instead of getting the intended effect, your body may end up with a stronger effect than expected. That can mean your blood pressure drops too much. You may feel lightheaded, weak, unsteady, or foggy, and after 60, that matters. Because a sudden drop in blood pressure can turn into a fall, a frightening moment in the kitchen, or a bad night getting out of bed too quickly. This is what makes blood pressure treatment tricky sometimes. A person can be taking the correct pill at the correct dose every day and still run into problems because of something as simple as a food interaction no one clearly warned them about. Then there's another common mistake, and this one often shows up at the worst possible time, in the middle of the night. This involves diuretics, often called water pills. These medicines help the body get rid of extra fluid and sodium, and they can be very effective for blood pressure control. But the timing matters. If a diuretic is taken too late in the day, the body may still be pushing out that extra fluid at night, and that means more trips to the bathroom after bedtime. At first, that may just sound annoying, but for an older adult, nighttime bathroom trips aren't just a sleep problem. They can become a safety problem. Because when you wake up suddenly at 2 in the morning, stand up too fast, and start walking half asleep in the dark, your blood pressure may drop even more as you change position. That's when dizziness hits. That's when balance disappears. That's when a simple trip to the bathroom can turn into a fall. And falls after 60 are not small events. One wrong step in the dark can lead to weeks or months of recovery, and sometimes much more than that. That's why, for many people, a water pill makes more sense earlier in the day rather than late afternoon or evening, if that fits the doctor's instructions. There's another mistake people make, because it feels logical in the moment. You forget to take your blood pressure pill in the morning. Hours go by. Then suddenly you remember. And the first thought is often, I'll just take 2 and catch up. Please don't do that. A double dose doesn't smoothly replace the one you missed. Instead, it can push too much medication into your system at once. And that can cause your blood pressure to fall too quickly or too far. That may lead to dizziness, nausea, weakness, cold sweats, blurred vision, or even fainting. And if that happens while you're walking, driving, standing in the shower, or getting up from a chair too fast, it can become dangerous very quickly. So if you ever miss a dose, the safest move is not a guess and not to double up on your own. The correct step depends on the medication, the timing, and how close you are to the next dose. That's why it's so important to know the instructions for your prescription, not just blood pressure pills in general. And now we come to the part that may change how you think about your medication entirely. Most people assume blood pressure medicine should be taken in the morning. It feels natural. You wake up, start your day, take your pill, and move on. But blood pressure doesn't stay the same around the clock. For many people, it follows a daily rhythm. It tends to drop during sleep, then begins rising again in the early morning hours as the body prepares to wake up. Hormones shift. The nervous system becomes more active. The heart and blood vessels start gearing up for the day ahead. And that means something very important. For some people, the most vulnerable blood pressure window may happen before breakfast, before coffee, and even before they've taken their morning pill. That's why the question of timing matters so much. If a medication is taken after waking up, it may take time to absorb and reach full effect. But if blood pressure is already climbing sharply in the early morning, then part of that high-risk period may happen before the medication is fully active. This is why some doctors and researchers have explored whether certain patients may benefit from taking blood pressure medication at night instead of in the morning. Not everyone, not every medication, not every situation. But for some people, nighttime dosing may offer better protection during those early morning hours when blood pressure tends to surge. Now, this does not mean you should finish this video and immediately move all of your pills to bedtime. That would be the wrong takeaway. The real takeaway is this. The timing of your blood pressure medication is not a small detail. It's part of the treatment itself. It deserves the same attention as the dosage, the medication name, and the blood pressure numbers on your monitor. Because some people do better with morning dosing. Some may do better with evening dosing. Some may need a more individualized plan depending on their medication, their age, their blood pressure pattern, and whether they deal with dizziness, nighttime bathroom trips, or early morning spikes. And there's one more reason this matters. Sometimes people blame themselves for not controlling their blood pressure. They think they're failing. They think they're not disciplined enough. They think their body just isn't responding. But sometimes the issue isn't a lack of effort at all. Sometimes they're taking the right medicine at the wrong time, or taking it with habits that quietly interfere with it, or following a routine that was never adjusted to how their body actually works now. So here's the practical step after watching this. Write down the blood pressure medicines you take. Write down what time you take them. Write down whether you drink coffee right after them, whether you take a water pill late in the day, whether you've ever doubled a missed dose, and whether your blood pressure tends to be highest first thing in the morning. Then bring that list to your doctor or pharmacist and ask a simple question. Is the timing of my blood pressure medication right for me? That one conversation could be more useful than most people expect. Because when it comes to blood pressure medicine after 60, it's not just about taking it faithfully. It may also be about taking it at the time your body needs it most.